We're here today just talking about EMF X solutions and some of the products that we have to offer to the world to harmonize people's lives, essentially. So we have a number of products. There are three that are available right now, which would be Telefy, Electrify, and Aquify. And just in beta testing right now, we also have a Somify, which would be more for the body, effects on the body, and the other one would be Orthofy, which are insoles for shoes. So, if any, you guys have some questions you want to ask me about these products or any explanations that you're looking for.
Okay, I would like to buy the Electrify for my kids. They all use cell phones, and I'm very interested. How would I explain to them that it works? Like, how will it benefit them?
So for cellular phones and laptops and that type of thing, you'd be more towards Telefy. Electrify is kind of a beefed up Telefy. So with the Telefy, what it does is in all EMFs, there's a frequency called vertical negative green. So electrical frequencies are vertical and magnetic frequencies are horizontal. And most electrical frequencies are very harmful for biological systems, except for natural electricity. I mean, static electricity, lightning, that type of thing, that's not really an issue. But with cell phones and everything man-made, there is an issue. So this vertical negative green frequency, what it does is it desiccates anything. So it'll dry you out. It'll dries out plants. It dries out people, and that type of thing. And it also disrupts this on the cellular level. So it disrupts DNA. It disrupts cellular mitosis. All of that type of stuff is affected by it. So what Telefy does and Electrify as well is they just on different scales. It'll take that vertical frequency, and the easiest way to explain it is that it lays it down into a magnetic frequency. And then it becomes horizontal and a horizontal negative green, which is actually a healing frequency. And so that's essentially what it's going to do. Um, and the nice thing about it too is that it actually benefits the user. So, doing the tests have been done at the MIT Institute in Pune, India, which is the Maharashtra Institute of Technology. It's one of the biggest universities in India, and they did testing with something called biofield visualization, and so it's kind of like Correllian photography. And so what they did a test over a 2 week period, and what it showed was that people's auras actually expanded with the use of the Telefy and became more vivid and colorful. And so that's one of the things that it does for sure. And the other, some other testing is done with something called gas discharge visualization, also called the BioWell. And it was developed by Professor Korotkov, who's a Russian physicist. And it was developed to as a diagnostic tool for the space program, the Russian space program, because they can't obviously take X-ray machines and MRIs and that type of thing into space. And so they developed a very small device, and then so it's kind of like you put your fingers on the plate, and then it reads um, it just takes measurements of the electrical activity in your fingertips. And what that showed is that it actually balances glands and organs and that type of thing. So, where somebody might have dysfunctional liver or issues with their eyes or with their pancreas, all those types of things are actually remediated by the use of Telefy on a cell phone and by extension with a laptop computer, that type of thing as well. Does that answer your question, or was that clear enough for you? Or
Wow, no, that's great. That was great detail. Thank you.
okay.
Thank you.
So,
So
did
Carrie,
you have some questions, Neela?
yeah, no, I just wanted to say I'm a big fan of your work. I have electrifies and Aquafis. I've got various sizes of Aquafis on my fridge, under my water distiller. And what I did do by accident, and I didn't know, and this would help your audience, is I put an Aquafi on the back of my phone by accident instead of a Telefy. And can you tell us what the difference is between the two, please?
Yes.
The larger one is the Aquafy here. The smaller one is the Telefy.
Yes. So Aquify is well, let me back up for a second. So the Telefy was the second product that I came out. First, I did Electrify because of the smart meter situation, and I had to do something about that because it was so outrageous. And then I realized with the Telefy, with the Electrify, well, I can make this for phones and stuff too. So I just scaled it down a little bit. So the Telefy is for the use on telephones, cellular phones and laptops and that type of thing. And so somebody who had been using Telefy and was quite happy with it, and she had an Electrify on her home as well. And she was somebody who traveled for business quite a bit. And she found that when she went to different jurisdictions, whether it was LA or Toronto or New York or Houston or places that she traveled a lot. And she found, at least she felt like when she came back from her travels, that she was having kind of Alzheimer-like symptoms. And she wasn't very old. She was not even 60 yet. She was in her mid 50s. And her naturopath agreed and said, "Well, yeah, there's something going on with your meditation, definitely." And so she asked me if I could do something about water, and I said, "Well, sure, and I'll let me try." So that was how I came. That's why I went to Aquify. So originally, Aquify is meant for it was to improve the taste and texture of water, and then it went on a little bit from there. When I was prototyping them, my wife one day was in a lot of pain, back pain, and she just instinctively grabbed one of my prototypes of the Aquify and she put it on her back, and the pain went away. And she was quite excited, and I thought it was a placebo effect, actually. But then we started testing it on ourselves and on other people and on animals as well and kids because you don't get a placebo effect with animals and children. It either works or it doesn't. And so that's what the Aquify expanded out from there. So it's meant to harmonize the water it's essentially kind of restructuring the water. I don't really like to say that so much because it's overused. Let's restructure the water. Well, what does that mean? Okay, well, I don't know actually what it's doing, but it's doing something to the water. And so our bodies are 80% water, roughly. And so it only makes sense that they start affecting the water in our body as well. And that has something to do with the relief of pain. On top of that is what I explained to you earlier about that horizontal frequency, which is horizontal negative green, is actually a healing frequency. So it would seem to me that it's actually healing. And of course, I can't make those claims because Health Canada and the FDA will get after me. But it definitely is relieving pain and many people are using them. And it's gone out from there as well to, I had somebody who was using it for neck pain and he put it under his pillow and he very excitedly called me and told me that he was having extremely vivid and lucid dreaming. And then we also found that it extends the shelf life of perishables. And so I always have one in my pocket because I'm perishable too. And so I want to extend my own shelf life. So that's what the Aquify is for. I did put an element in there for electromagnetic radiation because as the water is traveling through the ground and through the pipes and being pumped and all that type of stuff, it does pick up EMFs. So there is an element in there to ameliorate the EMFs, but it's not going to do it to the extent that Telefy and Electrify do that. So an Aquify on the phone isn't going to do a whole lot for you. However, because the horizontal negative green is also a carrier wave, so when the phone is activated, it's actually going to carry that healing effect of the Aquify into your body, into your surrounding. But it's really not going to do the complete job on your phone.
Okay. But what about well, now I notice a big difference. So I appreciate that because all of a sudden the Telefy went on. I don't have any weird kind of fogginess or like a numbness or anything like that. So what does the Telefy, maybe that's for another question, but what does the Telefy do in a nutshell, basic? Yeah.
Well, what it's doing is it's transmuting those vertical frequencies again
Oh, okay.
to the horizontal frequencies. But what's really fascinating about it is that when you make a phone call with a phone that has a Telefy on it, I noticed this early on. It took me a while to figure it out because I'd be on the phone with somebody. I don't like being on the phone, and I would say, okay, I have to go now, and they would keep on talking and talking and talking, and I'd be saying, I have to go now, and they would keep on talking. So I actually started faking that I was losing the signal, and I go, I'll call you back. That was so anyhow. But what's really interesting is that you ended up with both of them on your phone. And so you're getting the benefit of both of them while you're using your phone. And it's been something that I've been considering for quite some time is actually combining them because these vertical frequencies, they do desiccate things, they dry us out. So that's the difference in a nutshell. And it's kind of it's serendipitous that you actually have both of them on your phone because in one of the products that I'm right now beta testing, OrthoFi, which is an insert for your shoes, it actually has a combination of the Electrify the and the Telefy, or sorry, the Aquafy in it. So relieving pain in the feet and tiredness in the legs and that type of thing. People with diabetic neuropathy, people who work in factories, they're getting protection from the EMFs at the same time that the Aquafy is affecting their feet and legs and so on.
Excellent. Thank you.
Welcome. Thanks for your question.